Welcome into the Mike Herndon Show, Week 5. I am Mike Herndon, and this is Easton Freeze, Director of Published Content for BroadwaySportsMedia.com, of course, the website that brings you this show. And we are ready to break down a Titans win over the Indianapolis Colts, getting them to 2-2, as well as looking ahead at the matchup with the Commies. As I will struggle to name them throughout this episode, and will possibly slip back into either Redskins or Washington football team or the R words. You know, you never know which name that they've gone by over the last few years that I might accidentally drop into a spot. So,
absolutely, Mike. How was your weekend? How was your week? It's been a week since we've talked. Did you enjoy watching the Titans get a win on the road in Indianapolis?
It was great. I mean, look. We'll talk about the whole second half thing and everything that goes along with that. But anytime you get a road win over a division rival, especially the division rival that you were expecting to compete with for the division crown heading into the season, it may have switched to another team now, but anytime you can get that win, that is a big time win. It doesn't matter how ugly it is or you know what you think of the other team or whatever. Winning on the road in the NFL is tough. And you got to take the wins where you can get them. The Titans, what were they? They were 3.5 point dogs in that game.
They were, 3.5 point dogs. Easy money.
That's a big win.
Yeah, it is a big win. Obviously, it gets them back to 500, and you know they've got their heads above water at this point, which is the big deal. And they are facing a lackluster Commanders team this week with the opportunity fully within their reach of being above 500 heading into their very, very early week 6 bye. We got such a great response last week when we did our film room segment that we are going to do it again, because I know each and every week you're diving into the film anyways, whether it's on a show like this or not. And so we're going to put it out there for people here free in front of the paywall. The half of the show that we are doing the film room segment in will be available to everybody, but then the rest of the show, which is fantastic as well, our breakdown of this upcoming matchup, as well as a couple of different fun segments at the end of the show behind the paywall. So you'll have to become a Broadway Insider to get all of that. But for now, let's not waste any time diving into some of the film that you found interesting from Titans Colts last week. The first clip you have here, and the first segment of clips that we have here, all revolve around the main narrative, main storyline with this team so far this year, the second half struggles.
Yeah, and it is, the number's up to 64-7 now in the second half that they've been outscored. It is
brutal,
unlike anything that I've ever seen before.
It's so bizarre.
And I think I said that last week, and then this week, I guess the Colts only scored the one touchdown after the half, so it was a little bit less of a landslide in this matchup. But God, the breaks go on, and it is like they lock them up. I mean, it is a screeching halt at the half. And and we'll get into the film here to kind of back up what I'm saying here, but I don't think it's some overarching thing. I think it's a bunch of little things that are adding up, and it's almost coincidental that that their mistakes seem to pile up only in the second half, or only in crucial situations in the second half. They do have mistakes in the first half, but a lot of times it's on a less critical down. So I don't know if it's a lack of focus thing or something like that, but it is certainly interesting. But yeah, let's get into the video here, and we'll kind of go drive by drive here, which I think is the way to look at it.
Yeah. This first one right here is a design that you didn't love in terms of just the play design that led to a mistake. Talk us through this play.
Yeah, so it is second down here. The Titans had run the ball for, I think, no gain or maybe 1 yard on first down. This is the first drive of the second half. And they come out and run this play action boot, and they're looking to get it's kind of a flood concept. You can see Nick Westbrook-Akine and Jeff Swaim crossing the formation here. They've also got on the off the screen where you can't see them, Robert Woods is running a route on that side. So they're trying to kind of flood the zone, get somebody open on that side of the field. But I hate running this. I hate two things about this play. One, I don't really love boots to the quarterback's non-dominant hand, right? So it's just an awkward It's an awkward throw if you have to make it on the run. You see him kind of try to flip his body around, and I think he's actually trying to flip it around just to throw it away here, and then thinks better of it because he really just doesn't have time to get to any of his reads by the time that this defensive end, and I think that's Deo Odenigbo from Vanderbilt, who ends up making this play. But the other thing I hate about this, usually when the Titans run this play action boot look, they run it off of a stretch zone look from the offensive line and a stretch zone play action look, which causes that defensive end to try to chase down the line and work against the cutback lanes. But here they're running it off of a power look. They're pulling Aaron Brewer, but it is not, I mean, it's more of a dive play. It's not something that the defensive end necessarily is going to crash as hard as he would a stretch zone going the other way. So they're not influencing that defensive end as much as they should be. And I don't love that you're pulling Brewer here, which leaves Ben Jones with a bad angle to block Grover Stewart. And because of that, Dennis Daly's trying to help Ben Jones a little bit, which leaves him with a bad angle on the defensive end. So it's just all of the blocking angles are tough. You're hoping that maybe this defensive end crashes or tries to maybe run over, overrun the play somehow. But it's just a lot. You're asking for a lot of things to go right to even get a play off here. I mean, that's the problem is, something's got to go right on every play call. But you're asking for a lot to go right to even get to a look where hopefully someone is open. I hated that play call specifically, or really that play design. I don't mind the play call of going play action there.
Right.
But the play design, I hate. Wad that one up, throw it away. Let's never see it again, Todd.
And like you said, it's a number of little things that are kind of across the board. That first one, a play design issue. This next one is just a missed opportunity. So this is a matter of execution, really.
Yeah, and so this goes to the next drive, and I believe it's either first or second down here, but the Titans go play action. If you watch Robert Woods, who is the top wide receiver on the screen pre-snap, just keep an eye on him. He is running a dig, and Treylon Burks from the inside slot position is running. I believe it's a go or either that or a deep 7 route. But either way, this is really what you would consider a dagger concept. So Woods is running the dagger, and the idea is you're clearing out with this guy, and then you've got someone sliding underneath to hit over the middle.
Yeah.
Woods is wide open. Like
as wide as you get in the NFL right here. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and this is not a small gain if they hit him. I mean, right here, he is wide open. It is baffling to me that they don't throw this or that Tannehill doesn't throw this ball.
His man even leaves him to try to cover Burks on the deeper route, and he's right here. I mean, it doesn't get any more wide open than that.
Yeah, and I don't understand why he goes to the check down here, which, I mean, if he hits Woods, it's an explosive play. Like, it's a minimum of 15 yards, and it's probably, I mean, if you pause it when Tannehill hits the top of his drop here, so right here, if
you're probably crossing midfield here.
Yeah, if you hit him in stride, you're getting probably to the 50, and maybe you get a block from Burks or a missed tackle, and he takes it the distance. I mean, this is a huge chunk play, and I don't know what Tannehill saw that scared him off of it, but this was a missed opportunity on his part because he ends up checking it down, and then the next play they end up not converting the third down because I believe that was a second down play there. And then you end up with a punt situation. So this next one is another missed opportunity from Tannehill that I thought this one actually comes on third down. I think this might be the very next play actually. And if you watch Kyle Phillips, this is one of his 2 snaps of the game. He is the inside receiver of that bunch 3 to the bottom of the screen when they go pre-snap here. So he's the guy lined up to the inside. Now, Woods, as you saw coming in motion, was late on this play. He was lined up on the other side. They motioned to get him over onto the other side. I think Woods was lined up in the wrong spot initially, and he never gets set. So this play wouldn't have counted anyways, which gives you a little bit of, it makes it a little less painful. But if they do convert this throw to Phillips, who is wide open, as you can see here,
Yep,
just above the 40-yard line. That's as open as you're going to get. And Tannehill is low and late with the throw for some reason. That ball should have been released before Phillips really comes
Where does
out.
Tannehill look early here?
He's looking that side. He's reading that.
Do you think he's looking at Burks across the middle here?
He peeks back at Burks is what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And then by the time he gets back to Phillips, it's too late. So, I'm not sure again why he's not just looking. I mean, because Phillips has the one-on-one matchup they want. And he wins, immediately. He's open. So, hit him. And hey, if you do hit him, even if the penalty's called, at least you get another shot at converting a 3rd and 14 or whatever it would have been, which, hey, maybe low probability, but at least it's a chance to convert rather than, hey, here you go, you're punting. So, a couple weird things from Tannehill in the second half where he just wasn't ripping it on open throws. I mean, those are as open as you're going to get. And that's unlike him. He's usually very decisive. When a read is there, he is going to put it on the guy. But it was a couple missed opportunities in this one. And there's one more that we'll hit on for this next play. And this is a 3rd and 5 in the second half. I believe it's the following drive.
Okay.
And you'll see the Titans. I think I know what happens here to him. I think he's expecting man coverage. The Colts give them a man look. It is 3rd and relatively short, which is typically a man coverage down for most teams. But the Colts bail into cover 2 cover 3. I'm sorry.
3.
And I think it just gives him a little bit of pause. And if you look, the Titans are running mesh, which is a man beating concept. And I know they were anticipating man. So that is kind of part of why maybe he's hesitant here.
Hey, Mike, give our listeners a 2-second explanation of mesh real quick.
Yeah. So mesh, if you watch the 2 inside receivers, I believe it ends up being Hilliard, which Hilliard's on that stack behind Burks at the top of the numbers or at the top set of numbers up there. And then I believe it ends up being Nick Westbrook-Akine, who is in the slot to the bottom side. I believe that's a tight end that's lined up closer to the left tackle. And I believe he ends up staying in the block, or maybe he just runs a short stop route. But Nick Westbrook-Akine and Hilliard are going to run what we call mesh, and that's just a crossing route. They're running across each other. The idea is that they're going to get a natural rub in the middle. So if the Colts are in man, you're going to get somebody's going to get caught up in the traffic.
Right. Just a little bit of it's a little pseudo pick play, essentially.
Right. Exactly. So I know that's what they were looking for running this, but we've seen him throw this before. Westbrook-Akine has a pocket there. He has a pocket of space where if you hit him, and we saw him do it 3 times against the Raiders, frankly, where he drilled the ball into Westbrook on 3rd downs in tight coverage situations. So we've seen him do it before. He doesn't do it here for whatever reason. Ends up.
If he drills it right here, Westbrook can turn up field right between these hashes.
Right. And even if he waits a beat and just puts it on his body, kind of has him stop right there, he is, he's going to be able to catch it and fall down for the first down. I mean, he's there. Westbrook probably should have sat his route down just a little bit more than he did. He kind of runs through the window a little bit, but by the time he's through the window, Tannehill's already scrambling and under pressure. So this was a ball that needed to come out quicker. And I think the hesitation of the pre-snap versus post-snap read being different is what caused Tannehill to end up holding up on that throw. So he ends up climbing the pocket and getting brought down short of the sticks. He tried to escape. It looked like he might escape, but a guy makes a good open field tackle on him there. So
right. So a couple of missed opportunities from Tannehill there. Yeah. And then I guess on this next drive, we've got some offensive line issues, which the Titans have had plenty of so far this year.
Yeah, exactly. And so this first one, Nicholas Petit-Frere, who, he continues to be up and down. There's good moments and there's bad, but here he just gets absolutely whipped inside. And again, this is Deo Odenigbo, who is he's jumping inside. And look, it is tough when a guy wants to jump a gap inside like that. It is a tough block to make because you're aiming for his outside shoulder initially, and then all of a sudden he's inside and you've got to redirect. But that is part of playing offensive line. You got to be able to make some of these tough blocks. And he does a decent job initially, I think, of reacting to it, but he just doesn't get enough of him. And, there's other issues on the play. I think he's not the only one that's causing this one to be a miss. I think Okonkwo doesn't get a great block on the outside linebacker here either.
He jumps the gap as well, and Okonkwo gets beat just as badly, if not worse.
And look, when you go like when everyone says, why aren't the rookies playing? Why aren't the rookies playing? It's because of stuff like this. Like this is what teams are terrified of, playing rookies. So you have two guys completely whiff on their blocks right here at the point of attack, and you get a run for a loss. So it's growing pains. These guys will get better as the season goes on.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Mike. We hear people talking about how NPF, he's been up and down, and you see that in the game. You see it on tape, but then you hear in the media people talking about how, wow, NPF is really, like, he's coming along faster than you expect. When you talk about rookie linemen, in particular, rookie tackles, it's such a relative conversation, and I'm not sure everybody really understands how you have to parse the difference between a great rookie tackle performance versus league-wide tackle performance. Like, not everybody is Rashawn Slater. Almost nobody is Rashawn Slater. Right. Actually, almost everybody comes in, and a very good offensive tackle rookie performance, rookie season, is like just below league average for tackle performance. Like, it's such a hard learning curve. So NPF has been better than I think anybody expected him to be, where he was taken and what his profile in the draft was, what people expected him to be for this team. I don't think anybody expected him to even be a starter for this team when they drafted him. So he's come along, but relative to the league, that's still a well below average tackle.
It is. And I mean, you look at a guy like Andrew Thomas, who I just saw right before the show, PFF has him graded as the highest graded player in the NFL, period, regardless of position, through 4 weeks. Andrew Thomas has been fantastic for the Giants this year. He was awful as a rookie. I mean, awful.
Almost unplayable.
Yeah, it is absolutely a learning curve thing. And we talked about this on F Words Pod this week, Zach and I did. Mm-hmm. You look back at Nate Davis as his in his rookie year, and Nate Davis was abysmal in his first few starts, and he didn't start till I think it was week 5 was his first full-time start, and it took him about until week 10 or 11 to even things out, especially from a pass blocking standpoint, and become a little bit more of a solid player. And then by the end of that season, he was a big part of why they were able to run the ball so well in the playoffs. So this will get better. And Nicholas Petit-Frere has shown enough flashes that I feel good about him moving forward as the starter. And I don't think they need to pull him or anything else like that, but you're going to have to live with these growing pains. And look, it may have been coincidence just based on when the bye fell that year, but Nate Davis really settled down after the bye week during his rookie season. It really started to come together for him right after the bye. Obviously, the Titans have the bye on deck after this game. Maybe we start to see Nicholas Petit-Frere take those next steps following the bye week, following a chance to really look at some of these issues and maybe work on getting them corrected with a little bit of time off. So, but here's another snap here.
So
where
this is the last clip we have in the second half struggles department. Yes. And this one is a great ET stunt by the Colts that ended up resulting in the only one of the only sacks of the day on Tannehill. Maybe the only.
Yeah, I think he was sacked 3 times total.
3 times, okay.
One of them was that boot that we just.
That's right. Yeah.
This one again, it's Petit-Frere and Nate Davis not doing the best job passing off this stunt.
And you see the Titans do this on defense to teams all the time. So this is a well played. It is well played by the Colts, but not a well done job by the Titans, of course.
And look, the Colts are intentionally putting their 2 best pass rushers, DeForest Buckner and Kwity Paye, over Nicholas Petit-Frere and asking him to sort this out, right? So I mean, this is what they want. This is the matchup.
He's immediately in conflict with the 2 best rushers on the team. It's not a great spot for a rookie.
Exactly. It's a tough spot. And look, like last week, we talked about Max Crosby, blocking Max Crosby for a rookie. Not a great spot to be in. So, but most teams are going to have a good player that you're going to have to contend with. And he'll get better. He'll get better as this goes on. But this is a communication and comfortability thing, and knowing when you see this look, hey, I need to at least get pay pushed far enough up that Davis can take him, because I mean, he really doesn't get pay pushed out of the way. He kind of lets him get into Davis's hip, which takes Davis really out of the play. And at that point, you're blocking 1 versus 2. So, just a rough snap. But look, that's more of a hat tip to the Colts there, I think, more than anything. I mean, hey, you did a good job scheming to get the matchup you wanted. You 2 good players made 2 good rushes, and you got the sack. So, look, some of this is the other guys get paid too kind of territory.
Yeah.
But I think the most of the second half, you look at it and you're like, some missed opportunities. It's some offensive line issues. It's some, bad play design here. It's a mixed bag. And it was a mixed bag against the Raiders too, I felt like. So I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's a bunch of contributing factors all rolling into one really weird and confounding thing that I just think is going to go away one week. I think at some point, and maybe it's this week, that all of a sudden the Titans come out and they can start their scoring evens out. It's no longer all first half and no second half. Maybe it's less first half and more second half, and it just goes back to a more natural progression of things. But the way it started, it's just one of the strangest.
I've never seen anything like it.
Things. They only make mistakes in the second half on offense right now. Like that, it's just bizarre. So
and they make no mistakes on offense seemingly in the first half. I mean, by EPA standards, they're the best team in the league by a significant margin in the first half of games during their scripted plays. So we've got a couple of those plays here that you liked from the game. Let's look at the things the Titans did well and the things that they should be taking notes on. Hey, let's do this in the second half a little bit.
Yeah. And this is that wheel route I want to start with to Treylon Burks. And this is a missed opportunity as well, but I just want you to see how open Burks is really. Because I mean, he wins. This is a really nice design. It's a switch release. Getting him out.
The running back here owes him a touchdown. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it's Hilliard.
Hilliard, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Hilliard doesn't pick it up. And Tannehill is under pressure pretty much immediately. Yeah, if Hilliard gets a little bit more, like Dennis Daly isn't covering himself in glory on this play either, but at least his pressure was to the backside and needed a little bit more time. By the time Tannehill's releasing this, that rush wouldn't have mattered, but Hilliard's does end up getting right on Tannehill to where he can't follow through and kind of forces the throw to be more difficult than it should have been. But man, Burks is walking in for the touchdown. And more importantly, proving my pregame prediction of him scoring a touchdown correct.
There's a touchdown here to be had. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this throw, it doesn't even have to be that great a throw. It just needs to be out there for him to go get somewhere, so it is, he's wide open. But I like the design here. I like them taking a shot to Burks. Obviously, you hope he gets healthy soon, but like a lot about that play, everything except for Dontrell Hilliard's blitz pick up there. So, but we'll move on to a play that actually did work, and it's another wheel route.
Hey, how about Chig showing up in this game? Who knew? He's on the team. He can catch the ball.
Yeah, it's exciting to see him use Chig. And here, this is a fantastic design because they end up motioning Chig into the backfield, which they're starting to do the things that we kind of thought they might do with him, getting him the ball in creative ways, lining him up in creative ways. And using him kind of like Jonnu Smith was that first year. But here he releases out of the backfield. And what you see, 44, who is Zaire Franklin for the Colts and who's played really good football for them this year. He's really in no man's land here because this is a run look. Like the Titans give him a play fake and he's got run responsibility. So he has to come downhill at Derrick Henry. And it's not until Chig kind of takes that little side step around him that he goes, oh crap, this is a pass. And by that point, Chig has the step on him and is open. So this is beautiful design, really well done. And then the great ball from Tannehill to put it on him and let him go make a play. So I'm excited to see them use him like that because this is a guy that I feel like if you could just recreate the what was Jonnu Smith's draft class? 2017, 2018?
I think.
Yeah, so really the way that Mike Mularkey used him in 2017 was really creative and good. Mularkey and Robisky, of course. But Titans' two favorite offensive minds.
Titans
Uh,
legends, yeah.
they used Jonnu Smith really creatively that year, and you're starting to see the Titans use Chigakonkwo in some of those ways, and I'm really excited about that because Chig is a playmaker. He's got great hands. He needs more opportunities like this, and I'm excited to see them get that. And we'll use another
Yeah,
example
here's
of
another one that he had a great play here as well.
and this, of course, ices the game on that
I
final
liked this
play
play
down.
call on the part of Downing. I thought this was a pretty gutsy way to end the game, and it worked out. It was a good play.
I did too. Yeah, and it because really when they see Chig in the backfield, I'm sure they are thinking something is up here. But I think your initial thought as a defender would be, well, they're just trying to hide Henry so that they can give
Exactly.
him the ball and we aren't going to be all swarming him. Yeah, that they're just trying to hide Henry here, and so obviously they run the little fake fullback belly to Henry, which draws a ton of attention. But then you've got Chig, you've got a high-low read between Chig and Swaim
I
here
bet
coming
his
off the right
Swaim is the
side.
one that draws away that outside guy just enough.
Yeah, yeah, and if that corner doesn't turn and try to run with Swaim, you got Swaim
You got
open on
Swaim.
the flag route. So it's a really nice design. I love the play call. They do it with a jumbo set too, bringing Dylan Radins into the game to again try to say, look, we're going to run the football at you. We're going to run the football at you. So everything they're doing screams run, including personnel like Radins is in the game, Jeff Swaim is in the game, and Cody Hollister is the receiver, of course, everyone's favorite. So everything about the Titans, the way they lined up, the personnel that's in the game is screaming run here, and then they throw the play action pass to Chig from a halfback spot. So I love that creativity, love getting him involved. And then one other thing, we'll look at from a stuff I like standpoint, at
First
least in
touchdown of the
passing.
game right here.
Yeah, Robert Woods. Love them going play action on first down in the low red
Yes.
zone.
Yes.
Because that is a run look if you ever saw one for the Titans. Just the way they run the ball on first down and the way they run the ball in the red zone, especially the low red zone. So they're tendency breaking here, and they catch really Darius Leonard, or I'm sorry, Shaquille Leonard
Shaq Leonard, yes.
is kind of he's pulled in by the play action fake, and then it looks like Kenny Moore or maybe it was the safety. I'm not sure who was supposed to go with Robert Woods, but somebody fell asleep.
I think it's
in
the
the second
safety who's
unit.
just standing defending nobody right in the sun here.
Yeah, if you watch Hollister, he ends up with two guys on him, and Woods has zero guys on him, which is really lovely if you're a Titans, if you're drawing it up for the Titans. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, really like not so much. Obviously, the Colts busted that coverage, so it makes it easy. But I love them going with a tendency breaker in the low
When you
red.
say it's tendency breaking, but we saw them run this exact kind of thing more times than I can count in training camp. And then
Yeah.
they seemingly decided to just throw that part of the playbook away at the beginning of the year. So it's certainly a positive. It was confusing until they finally started using it. I'm not sure why I'm still confused as to why they took so long to start doing this kind of thing, whether it was a trust issue or what, but they did it so much in training camp for them to have gone away from it was confusing. And then when they did it in the first half of this game, it worked very well for them.
Yeah, yeah, and they've always been a good red zone team, at least under Vrabel. I mean, year by year, they're in the top 5 as far as red zone efficiency.
Technically,
So,
right now, they're breaking red zone efficiency because they're
yeah,
at like
they're
107% EPA over expected for red zone efficiency, which is hilarious because they're never there in the second half of the game. But when they're there, they're scoring. Yeah.
They score. And it's intentional, right? Like Vrabel drills red zone more than any coach I've ever seen.
Yes.
They do all kinds of work in red zone during camp, during off season. It is intentional that they are really good in the red zone and situationally. Maybe you could say, hey, they need to work on the rest of the offense too. But when it comes to converting, when they get close, they're really, really good at it. And they always have been under Vrabel, regardless of who the offensive coordinator is.
Yep. So here's another one. This is a duo. This is the screen to Henry at the early part of the game that went for a big gain. What did you like about this play?
Yeah, this is really nice design because they've done some of this throwback screen stuff off of outside zone before, but I've never really, or at least I can't remember seeing them do it off of a duo look. So this is again something that looks like a new wrinkle to me. You see the two double teams on the interior guys, which really sells the run because they don't get, usually on a screen, you'll see a guy, almost not block anybody because he's trying to get out quickly to block. Well, here they actually do double team initially. I mean, these guys block. You watch the guard center and then guard tackle combinations on the two interior. They are engaging. So that really
Just long enough.
sells the run just long enough, and then they kind of let this guy think he won, and then you slip out the back door, and then all of a sudden you've got your awesome athletes out in space with Nate Davis and Aaron Brewer. Aaron Brewer does a really nice job.
Yeah, look at this entourage that he's got once he's got the ball in his hands.
Yeah, Brewer getting that block right there is really the key block to get him into open space, and then you've got a convoy going downfield. So I love the Titans getting Henry involved in the passing game. I've mentioned they've thrown more to him in the last 2 weeks than they have in any 2-week period combined over his entire career. So this is clearly something they're trying to involve in the offense.
And as long as he manages to catch the ball, he's a good player and obviously an athlete in space you don't want to have to face. He's just got to secure the ball. That's all.
Yeah, the hands are still shaky. I mean,
very
that's
suspect hands. Yeah,
I
don't think that's going to change ever. You gotta touch pass to him all day, every day.
Yeah, or else you got to take it off of him. It's soft toss with Henry.
I don't know if I noticed this in a couple of the practice clips from different Titans reporters this week when the running backs were running screen drills. It's almost like the trainers who are throwing the ball or the coaches that are throwing the ball know what kind of pass to throw to Henry because Henry goes first and it's this very soft, feathery touch pass that anybody could catch. And then Hilliard is next and they just drill it into his gut. It's entirely different. And I found it so funny.
That is funny. Yeah. Henry's like, I think you're right. He's never going to have good hands at this point, but if you can just get him to catch these easy layups, that's all you really need. And as we mentioned last week during this segment, it does some things to the defense as far as what they have to look for and how their linebackers can react to certain looks that helps the Titans in other areas as well. So as they continue to put these plays on film, it will continue to open up other opportunities. And then here's this is the long touchdown run for Henry that ends up getting called back due to this phantom Burks hold down here. I mean, there's just no way. There's just no way that's a hold. And we'll get into more holding complaining here in a minute. But
yes, we will.
When you look at some of these other holds that did not get called, my God, is it just ticky tack here? And the whole reason it's called is because Gilmore throws his hands up. And honestly, it's just a ref reacting to seeing a defender throw his hands up and complain. So frustrating that's called and called back because this is the run that to me is like, okay, this looks like Derrick Henry. Like he breaks through 2 tackles there. He's sorting through all this traffic. And then all of a sudden he's out the back door and he's gone. That looks like prime Henry to me. He's looking better and better as the weeks go on here, as he typically does. And frankly, he's looking better earlier in the season than he often has.
Wait, so Mike, are you telling me that when he was declared dead through 2 weeks this year, that was just a little premature, that people may have just been a little bit overreactive?
It was definitely premature. Yeah. And I thought he looked a touch off of his normal speed early in the season, but anytime I brought that up, I also said, that's not abnormal for him early in the year. No. So we'll see if that's a permanent thing or if that's
it's a projection. People are every passing year, they're like, oh, he's getting older. It's going to fall apart eventually. So they're projecting that onto his early, even when he does fall apart, you will not know until week like 6 or 7. It's just the way he works.
Exactly. He is he gathers momentum as the season goes on. So, he looks like he is back to me. And the next clip here is going to be another nice run for them. And it shows kind of some of the stuff that, look, this is what Nicholas Petit-Frere is doing well right now. He is blocking well in the run game. You see, he gets a really nice kick out block on pay to kind of help clear the way. But, Nate Davis is doing a great job as usual. Ben Jones with a fantastic reach block. on 96 there, whoever that is. I'm not even sure who that is for the Colts, but
Me neither.
A really nicely blocked play. And you see Brewer. I mean, Brewer's just such an athlete. He's such a weapon on the backside of these runs. I hope one of the things that they start to lean on is really running right in this offense,
No more
because
run left. Barstool's got to get a new hats. They got a new merch opportunity here.
print the hats that we're running right now, because Nate Davis is your best offensive lineman as of today. And you need to be running behind him as much as possible. And Petit Frere is a good run blocker. I mean, he whiffs, like we saw that one whiff earlier. He's going to whiff every now and then, but what he does when he does engage and locks up is really good in the run game. So, and I love Brewer on the backside. Brewer is such a talented athlete, and when you can get him scooping out those weak side linebackers on the backside of those zone runs,
right? Well, his weakness is his strength,
does.
right? It's that size. He has more athleticism than most of those guys, and so when you've got a matchup like DeForest Buckner, it is absolutely terrifying. But if he can, just survive that kind of matchup, then when you get him pulling and you get him on those linebackers, who he is just as physical and athletic as, but bigger than, it's a massive mismatch.
Yeah, he's fantastic in space, and I think that's going to continue to be an advantage for them as the season wears on. I mean, we know this team historically gets better running the football as the season goes on. Henry, we just talked about, tends to get better, but the offensive line also tends to come together, and I think that's true of a lot of NFL teams, just not just the Titans, but it's certainly true of the Titans, because I think it's so hard in the run game with how practices are limited from a contact standpoint and everything like that to get a real good look at the run game in training camp. And I think it just takes these guys time to gel and really get used to the physical nature of running the football in the NFL. And I think once they do, they tend to be very good at it here in Tennessee. But we'll look quickly at the other side of the ball. I know we've spent a lot of time on the offense the last 2 weeks, and that's mostly just because this whole first half, second half thing is just so baffling to me.
Well, on the defensive side of the ball, it's not who wants to evaluate all these guys that shouldn't be out here to begin with, right?
Right.
But in this case, in this game, I'll let you talk about this, but I was impressed by the no names this week.
Yeah, I thought, look, you had a starting defense that featured Andrew Adams, Terrence Mitchell, Dylan Cole. I don't know if Mario Edwards started, but he played a ton of snaps.
He played quite a bit.
And then you had Joe Schobert rotating in that had been signed like 4 days
hours
ago.
before or something. Yeah.
He didn't even have his parking pass yet for Titans.
But Mike, none of them got exposed in this game.
None of them. They all played well. I mean, Terrence Mitchell even had a pretty good game, I thought. And we'll look here at a couple reps from Caleb Farley, because I think that's kind of, the guy on defense that maybe people are most, interested in at the moment. And you start with the coverage on this long ball that he gave up. The other catches that he gave up in this game, I had no issue with at all. Like, he was in good position. Guys are going to catch balls in this league. Once the Colts caught them in man coverage, they ran a rub route. Farley went over the top, made the tackle. The guy got the first down. That's going to happen. There was nothing he could have done about that play to stop it.
So here he is manned up on the deep route at the bottom of the screen.
And he's in great position here. Like, he's in phase. This is where you want him to be. And the problem is this ball is so underthrown.
And Colts special.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not Carson Wentz. Maybe it's was Frank
design.
Coaching it the whole time. But
all right, so here on this deep pass, throw it 10 yards short. Trust me, I promise it'll work.
Exactly. And it is really hard to defend sometimes, because you don't see the ball. All of a sudden you just see the receiver stop. And now you've got to throw on the brakes and try to turn around and locate the ball all at the same time. And here, Farley slips. And look, part of this may be the Colts crappy turf. But I still think he's struggling a little bit with his trust in that knee. I don't think he's really comfortable planting hard off of that.
Cuts are soft. Yeah.
Yes. He's taking a lot of steps to really change directions a lot of times. So I think that's part of it. And I think that'll get better as he gains comfort on that surgically repaired knee. But, this isn't a terrible play by him. It's just it's a tough play that, maybe he could have done a better job of slamming on the brakes and locating the ball, but it is a tough play for any corner anytime a ball is thrown like that. Now the risk when you underthrow a ball like that is, hey, it could be completely, picked off by another guy in coverage or something like that. So that's why teams don't do it all the time.
Well, him being in such good position early on that route is what ended up screwing him, really, because if he'd gotten beaten, he'd have been in better position for the underthrown ball.
Yeah, he might have ran right under it to pick it off, So, yeah. But here's this next clip is a good rep for him, and a good result as well. But he's at the bottom of the screen again, and he's working against Alec Pierce again, and here he does a good job. He opens up his hips and starts to run with him going deep, and it is a deep comeback route, but he does a nicer job throwing on the brakes here and staying in phase. You can see he actually gets out of his break before Pierce does, so he actually closes the gap in the break.
Those of you watching at home, turn your brightness up to 4,000 in order to see this this is such a ADD squirrel moment, but the shadows on this field are the worst in the league, I think, pretty clearly.
It's horrendous. Watching the All-22 on this is so hard because the shadows are miserable. But obviously the throw here is not accurate, but Farley's in great position, and that is how you want that route covered. So he showed some things I thought this week. Like obviously he didn't have a huge bust in knowing his assignment that at least not that showed up on tape to me. And he was in phase on both of those routes until the underthrow. So, and then the other plays I talked about, I thought he played perfectly fine. So it was a better game from him. It was a better game from Terrence Mitchell too, who didn't really give up a ton. I think he gave up one first down conversion on a third down, I believe, but that was about it. So part of that is the Colts wide receivers aren't very good. And neither is Matt Ryan, frankly, at this point in his career. But it's better. It's better from the Titans cornerbacks in general. I thought, Roger McCreary had some rough moments with some of those crossers in coverage, which I think that's part of the thing. They need to get him back outside because he's better outside than he is inside in the slot. And they need Elijah Molden.
He made Molden back. Yeah.
If you can't have Molden, I'd rather have Amadi. That way you at least have a guy with some experience in there in the slot, and you can put McCreary back where he really belongs outside. So I like that group better, with Amadi, but I like that group a lot better with Molden. So I'm interested to see what this secondary looks like when they come back. But look, Farley did some things that you kind of liked in this game. So maybe a baby step forward for him, and we'll see how much he plays this week. I think if Amadi's back, which it looks like he probably will be at this point, it probably means no more Farley, from a regular snap standpoint, because I'd imagine it's going to be McCreary outside with Fulton on the other side and then Amadi in the slot. But who knows? Maybe they do, stick with some McCreary inside and Farley outside for certain matchups. It'll be interesting to see how and if he's used. But I think if he does return to the bench for this game, it's not necessarily because he played poorly against the Colts. I just think it's because they have better options right now.
Now, we said pre-show that we'd be doing about 30 minutes on the film, and here we are about 43 minutes in. But that's just how it goes. We got so much to talk about. Very quickly, 2 minutes we got to spend on the Hold-a-Palooza here. You tweeted about this at the time in the game, and we've got all of these clips of the Colts just getting away with the most egregious holds you'll see in a game not called. So talk us through the disaster of officiating that we've got here.
It was funny to watch this back on tape because it almost looked like the Colts were being coached to reach around and grab the nameplate on these guys' jerseys, because it happens almost every snap. And you see Simmons gets tackled here. Like that, there's no two ways about it. He's getting tackled by the right guard. Like he has him beat right here, and he doesn't let him go, and he pulls him down to the ground. So that is a hold in every game. That is always called a hold.
Yep.
And some of these will end up being ticky-tack calls that, maybe you don't, but this has to be a flag every time. Now, Tier Tart ends up picking off this pass, but look, the guy has him turned around completely backwards. I posted a snapshot of this on Twitter, but
That's
it looks like Simmons is blocking the offensive lineman by the end of this.
He's giving him a hug. Yeah.
And like that is a hold. That
Yeah.
because like what happens if Tart does not end up catching this ball, if a Colts player catches it, or if it falls incomplete, the Titans would have liked to have that 10 yards, right? So you got to throw the flag regardless. And then this one, this time it's Simmons again being held by the right tackle or right guard again. And this one may be a little less egregious. At least this time his hands are on his front of his body, but he's still grabbing that chest plate and pulling him. So getting better at least as far as non-calls go. But it was constant throughout this game that the Colts just held and held and held. Here, this one's Weaver. He's look,
got him by the neck.
Yeah, he's got him by the neck, and I mean, you see, if you see that happen in a game where a guy's like arms are going up like this and he's flailing around, like usually that gets called, but no, not in this game.
No,
it's just funny. The holds were,
there's so many of them.
There's a lot of them. Like I ended up cutting out a few of them just because I was like, well, that's so far away from the play, it didn't really matter. This one is Quentin Nelson giving Danico Autry a big bear hug at the line of scrimmage. Like, look, just what kind of block is that? I mean,
it's not. It's a hold.
He is just holding him. Like, I just don't understand. How the Colts ended up having one holding penalty in this entire game, and it was an egregious call, but. How did none of these other calls end up getting made? This one here, yeah, look at this block by the left tackle here. Watch him as he's like got him in a headlock. He's pulling
got him in a headlock. Yeah,
he's got him bent over in a headlock. It looks like he's about to suplex him. And then you've also got Ryan Kelly, like hip tossing Jeffrey Simmons. Just hilarious.
And I've got a potpourri of options here that I'm choosing.
Oh, from. This one is a great one. Yeah. Like look at the block, both hands on his back.
Just a hug.
Yeah. Just giving him a hug. And again, Weaver makes the strip. The Titans end up pushing them back further. I don't think the Titans recovered. Yeah. The Titans did not recover that fumble, but either way, like got to call a hold. That needs to be a penalty and decline, but it's got to be a call. And here's another one. Weaver just gets tackled as he tries to spin back inside. Just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like spin back inside. Oh, I'm going to tackle you. I mean, do we think he just like laid down on the ground?
Yeah. He just took a nap at that point. He was done
for no reason. Like, come on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our film room segment of the show. Once again, you get more than we meant to give you, but you're welcome. We're just so generous here at the Mike Herndon Show. And that's the end of the road for those of you who are listening via podcast and those of you who are watching the free version on YouTube. We appreciate you watching. We would love for you to watch the rest of the show. We're going to get into a ton of stuff surrounding the Titans and the Commanders coming up in week 5, as well as the Moneymaker Mike segment. Going to get some bets, a refund for getting a Broadway Insider pass to be able to watch this show. And then we've got our hot take of the week, the Mike drop. Mike giving us his hottest take on our way out. In order to get all of that great stuff, as well as all the great stuff over at BroadwaySportsMedia.com, you have to become a Broadway Insider. Guys, it's really just the cost of a trip to Starbucks a month is all it is. $5.99, $6.99 a month, but you get your first month for 99 cents if you use code INSIDER when you sign up right now at BroadwaySportsMedia.com, or just get the annual pass. Set it and forget it. You can pay it now and then have a whole year of content the rest of the Titans season into the Preds season, all of our MLS coverage, all the great Nashville sports coverage that we got going here. Use code annual right now to get $49.99 as your total for your annual pass, marked down from the $69.99 regular price, which it will go back up to here eventually. That's what it costs to get the rest of this show, which is going to be behind the paywall. So to those of you who are insiders and are listening, thanks for sticking with us. Those of you who aren't, go sign up now. Thanks for watching.